Warning. We will be discussing The Legend of Korra and its ending. And we'll be talking about Avatar The Last Airbender and its ending. If you're the sort that does not like to hear spoilers, then proceed no further. Thank you.
Battle Couch Gaming.
Okay, so we're playing the Legend of Korra game today.
This is definitely the first time that we've tried to record this.
And the series has just ended, so we want to talk about it.
Indeed. We're going to play the game and, just chat about the Legend of Korra and maybe a little bit of Airbender stuff, too. New game? Or do we want to...
No, we should do new game.
Okay. We'll start from the beginning.
Alright.
I mean, we never played this before.
We never played it. Where's my water?
You drank it all.
Oh. Oh.
Go get some more.
Oh.
There's a tap in the...
Oh.
Alright, I'm gonna start playing.
Oh.
Fire.
Fire. Wind. Water. This is
the Avatar.
Legend of Korra. Yeah. And with our powers combined, we are the last Airbender. I mean, Legend of Korra. Sam's back.
I'm coming back. I'm not a terrible podcaster.
Sam's a terrible podcaster.
Okay.
So,
Korra's Fighting the Spirits. So this takes place between season...
1 and...
Well, I'd say season 2 and 3.
2 and 3? Well, it's like... Yeah, it's probably like 2 and 3, but it's like it's I feel like it's sort of a standalone thing at the same time.
So yeah, this is a pretty good little brawler. You can pick it up for a pretty good price, and it's made by Platinum, so the people that do Bayonetta and Metal Gear and all that stuff. A game from this universe I always kind of thought would be awesome.
Can master all 4 elements and bring balance to the world.
Sorry.
Yeah, he's actually playing the game.
I got distracted. It's just so cool airbending stuff.
What's the deal with Korra in terms of like the show and how do you think it ended up?
Okay, so I was gonna sort of stand by The Last Airbenders, one of my favorite series, like cartoon series ever. Mm-hmm. Just because of how strong it was, and like it developed its characters so well, and not to say Korra didn't, but I think it just didn't as well as The Last Airbender did, but for fairly good reason. I mean, there's a lot of like funding issues and through Nickelodeon and stuff, so they were sort of, they did what they could with the resources and time that they had to do it, and I think for what they had to work with, they came out with a fairly good series.
Yeah, they couldn't plan it the way they planned the Airbender series.
Right.
Airbender was basically, I think they approved it almost immediately for 3 seasons.
Yeah, and they were able to tell the entire story in that amount of time, which was good.
When you think about it, Korra did way more than Aang did, in some senses. Yes, Aang defeated the big bad villain of the world, but... Oh, we're pro-bending.
Yeah.
But Korra defeated 4 big deal villains. She united the spirit world with the real world. She discovered how to unlock bending in people, or I guess bring back bending in people who had been locked up. She kind of completed Aang's work in that sense.
Exactly.
She figured out how to like channel spirit power and make new spirit portals. She, as an avatar, probably like is basically a PhD in avataring compared to what we saw.
Well, it's sort of like known that she got the hang of bending a lot faster than Aang did. Like, because the first time we actually see Korra is like she's a little kid.
She's struggling with airbending because airbending is the least. It's like the most misdirection and like spirituality and things like that. And that's kind of her struggle.
Yeah.
But one of the things I liked about the first season is how they pointed out everyday life for people in this universe.
Exactly.
So, like, Mako being a lightning bender. In the original series, lightning bending was this prestigious thing. It was, the highest form of fire bending, basically. Yeah. And now they've got electricity, and these regular schmoes learn lightning bending and like
power generators
and just run generators. Yeah, like that's their job for 8 hours a day. It's just bending.
Exactly.
And so that's kind of interesting, that progression of it went from being this really prestigious thing to now it's the common thing.
Right. Yeah.
And kind of how history marches forward. Like,
yeah, it's
Are you all right?
it's such a strange juxtaposition with the last Airbender, where all these nations were separate entities, and the Fire Nation was. Yeah.
God, just my needle phobia acts up, and they're like throwing them at her.
Acupuncture, free acupuncture in this alleyway.
Back alley acupunctures.
Sterilize these damn needles, please. I'm really hoping.
Yeah,
we don't need any spirit STDs. Yeah, like spirit TDs. Spirit blood diseases.
You have hepatitis C.
Yeah. Oh god.
And speaking of chi blockers, Azula's friend Ty Lee,
yes,
is basically the basis for all of these equalists.
Yeah. So so we can talk about the villains a little bit.
Oh yeah, like the villains and
each. Okay, so Korra can't actually use her bending right now.
Yeah,
because she has her chi block. But okay, so the villains in this series were really well done, I think.
Yeah, and they did the villains really well in Airbender, and then when you think about all the ideological ground they covered with villains. So Amon was a communist,
right?
In a way, he was a union leader or workers.
He's for the lower class.
Yeah, he was making a class struggle.
Yeah, exactly. So like where, he basically just declared war on benders because
they're privileged.
Because they're privileged. Yeah.
And I mean, he had his own motivations, and for a show that's on a kids network, to cover things like political drama and class warfare and things like that was really, I think it needs to be done more.
Yeah, exactly.
Not only is it brave that they did this, but people need to see this and do it more.
Yeah, it really brings a lot. It brings like a really nice historical touch to television, and it lets
Gone.
Well, so now the kid can be interested in school when they're reading about the Russian Revolution.
It's like, oh, I can relate this to a cartoon that I watched.
Yeah, or the French Revolution, which is more of kind of what happened with Kuvira in the last season.
Yes.
It's a bit of the French Revolution, a bit of the Chinese Revolution, just all these populist revolutions.
Bit of World War II in there, too.
A bit of World War II Germany, a bit of World War I Germany.
Yeah.
She was kind of the Kaiser for a bit there. But, yeah I mean, Kuvira was a straight-up fascist.
Yes.
She believed that she could unite her country, and that was the best thing. But she had to unite them. She did not believe in popular ruling.
Oh, boom.
And they showed the flaws of that system, but early on in the 4th season of Korra, they showed Kuvira's strengths. She was uniting the country. She wasn't hiding behind the walls like Sue. The Airbenders, which kind of became the League of Nations or the UN, they were spread too thin. They couldn't do what Kuvira could do. So, I mean, they really covered that well. And then we get Unalaq, who is a religious zealot.
Yes.
Kind of a fundamentalist.
Who sort of, like, makes this coup over
and the
Southern Water Tribe?
Yeah, the second season is kind of the weakest, but I really like the concept of the Water Tribes being at civil war.
Yeah, no, it had a lot of like really good like individual parts, but I think altogether the second season was like too spread thin.
Yeah,
and like it was a lot more. They tried to jam as much as they could into the second season as they could. It was, a little bit more ambitious than it like had the right to be. I think.
I think it was a little rushed.
Yeah, exactly.
Because Varric was in that season. That's when
they introduced a lot of stuff in the season, like Varric. They had like the whole Juan sub arc.
They did. Yeah.
Korra getting kidnapped at one point. They had the spirits.
They had Bolin becoming a movie star and marrying a Water Tribe princess, or about to marry a Water Tribe princess.
It was pretty like the plot was pretty all over the place.
Yeah,
for the season.
So that one was a little strange, and then the third season had Zahir, who was an anarchist.
Easily one of the coolest villains they've had. He
led an anarchist group called the Red Lotus. And it was kind of the secret society sort of thing, kind of the, they represented, chaos, where Tenzin and, at this point, Republic City was run by President Reko, are representing this kind of order. And so it was a very fundamental battle. And Zahir was a very cool villain because they introduced an airbender villain.
Yeah, which...
We'd never seen airbenders do bad things.
Oh, so that's why I didn't get those before.
Yeah.
I had such a hard time.
There are these chaste monks, you know, and suddenly we have Zahir who knows about the monks, and he quotes poems and is a very learned individual. But he's brutal.
Yeah, he really takes no prisoners when it comes down to it. He's willing to... And that's actually kind of why I liked that season so much, is because it brought a lot of, like realistic struggles into Avatar. It made it like seem less like a kid show than it.
Well, and I'll point out it's also the season where they went to online.
Yeah,
where they got pulled halfway through, went to online, and so at that, the episodes had already been made at that point. But you gotta think like they probably heard backroom talk that they're gonna get pulled from TV.
Yeah, so
and they're just like,
we might as well not
let's ratchet
pull our
it up.
Punches.
Yeah. But yeah, so amazing cast of villains when you think about it.
Yeah, they cover so much stuff with this.
And for a little bit, you think Varric is going to be the fifth villain.
Yeah,
he's this ruthless capitalist when you think about it. They made him kind of like an Edison.
Right.
Well, not an Edison.
No, it's sort of like a Howard Hughes.
Yeah.
Sort of guy, like mind.
But he's, you know, there's a moment
he has ulterior motives.
Yeah, he's messing up Asami. He's kind of a war monger.
He's a war profiteer.
Yeah, profiteer, warmonger. Clearly does not care.
He's sort of like the Tony Stark character.
Yeah.
Like when Tony, like in the first Iron Man, when he like doesn't really care about how he's making his money. It's just like he's he'll profit off of whatever he whatever he can. Break this stuff.
So yeah, I mean,
but then he does this sort of like 180 as well.
Yeah,
which is kind of.
And that's kind of what I hoped for with Korra, is we explored these political ideologies and these things that you're going to experience in life. Another thing that they did great in Korra about talking about life experiences is Korra had started dating Mako.
Yes.
And it wasn't clean. It wasn't, Prince Charming sort of level. His Asami was in there also, and there's kind of a love triangle.
There absolutely was.
Which, with a young female protagonist right now, it seems like they of course need a love triangle, but I let it kind of slide for this.
Right. I mean, we just we assumed that it would sort of work itself out at some point.
But then my favorite part is they broke up, and it wasn't because the breakup was visually good or anything. It's just the fact that there's an example of a breakup.
Right, exactly.
Oh, we have a visitor. Anyways, the dog is coming, but good chance. So just the fact that again, I'm hoping that young adults are watching this show and they're realizing, okay, Korra's a strong individual who can do what she wants to do.
Exactly.
And you're not going to get Prince Charming on the first try.
Right, and they definitely did a good job of
and that's going to hurt. That's going to suck.
Yeah,
it was not good in the show.
They definitely appealed to the
and she was kind of a jerk. When they were breaking up, she was not a likable character for a little bit there.
Yeah, she was.
But these are normal human emotions.
Exactly.
Die. This poor man, his spleen.
And they definitely had a lot of interesting relationship choices in this. Do
we want to talk about that?
I mean, we can. I mean, we're sort of on track to at some point.
So, So after Mako, she kind of reflected about herself for a while, and kind of out of nowhere. I mean, you could kind of see it maybe, but
I mean, a lot of people are debating. I mean, it's canon now, I suppose.
It's canon. So she eventually ends up with Asami,
which is her girlfriend. Mako.
They start dating, I'd say, at the end.
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay, so girlfriend in the sense of just like they're friends.
Yeah.
Since the first season, and then
we need to clarify that.
I guess they get closer in the second and third season, and then
which I'm fine with that as a concept.
It's cool that they
Naga, where are
They did it. I feel like it was a bit ambiguous at first because I didn't really see it coming until maybe like the last few episodes. I just thought that they were just developing a really strong friendship.
Yeah.
But
it seems like what might have happened is they were on the fence about doing it.
Right.
So they kept it really vague. And then they just said, hell, we'll go for it.
Yeah, I mean...
And so that's my problem with it, is narratively.
Narratively, yeah, and it just seems that they were just sort of pandering to, the...
Yeah, we were kind of like, are they just trolling us? They were like, well, you can't fix it. Oh, this is the driving section.
Yeah, that's fine. I think I can get this. Okay, yeah, I got it.
No, you have to read it.
It feels like they were just sort of, what is they call it?
Fan service.
Yeah, it's absolutely fan service at the end, in my opinion.
Well, it's not. It's socially active fan service, but it's fan service, guys.
Yeah, because I don't know. From sort of how I felt about it, and I think you agree with me on this, is that Korra didn't necessarily need to be with anyone at the end.
Yeah, it really did not feel like she was worried about romance at that.
Yeah, I mean,
and that's kind of where I was at too. I was like, and I would have believed that they would have gone to the spirit world together. They were basically, the ending is, and this is spoilers, so the ending is after the big battle for Republic City against the Colossus, Asami says, hey, Korra and Asami are reflecting on how it's so busy around here. And so Asami says, I'd like to go on a trip. And, and Korra said, oh yeah, where to? And she said, oh, I've never been to the spirit world.
Yeah.
And so
the last scene...
So I could see that. Yeah. I could see two friends going off to the spirit world.
Adventuring and whatnot.
And then, really, it's just they go to the spirit portal and they face each other and look longingly into each other's eyes. And it's like, oh,
it's that sort of adventure.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay. And so it's like... Okay, this is, and then the creators officially came out and said it, but any adult with eyes could tell.
You could. At that point, it was like, oh, okay, they're actually an item now.
Yeah, and again, I'm perfectly fine with it because honestly, this world doesn't have.
Come on,
this is a fantasy world. You don't even have to have like pressure.
No, exactly. They've never like.
They've never established homophobia in this world.
Exactly. It's never been. Oh god, that was a cool power slide.
Yeah. Naga should just grab its hat as it slides under things. But anyways, yeah. So yeah, it was just kind of the out of nowhereness.
Yeah, and again, if they had like really played it up a bit more in the series and made it a bit stronger,
not in a pandering way, but maybe they flirted a bit more.
Yeah,
or something.
So close. Yeah.
Let's give this another shot.
I don't know. It felt like a little forced at the end.
Yeah, maybe a few moments together before the big battle.
Exactly.
Just something like that.
Something to really like cement it.
Yeah, because the fan theories were there, but the fan theories are always there.
It's just
sort of stuff. So,
as far as anyone knew,
Marceline and Princess Bubblegum,
which is also apparently
is that canon?
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't kept up on Adventure Time. Anyways, but yeah, so. That was just that was a weird thing. The ending in general for the series was good, though.
Yeah, no, I got a kick out of Varric and Julie's wedding. It was just adorable.
That was fan service.
that was fan service, but I love when he proposes to her, will you do the thing forever?
Yeah. Well,
or something like that.
That joke won't get old.
I know, right?
But, yeah, no, it was cute, and, everyone wanted to see it, so it happened.
Yeah.
I really liked more of the Julie being like, I'm not your assistant, we're equals. Like,
exactly. It's like, you gotta see me as, an equal. I'm not I'm not gonna take this crap anymore.
Also, I called it that Julie was going to be a double agent.
Oh, yeah.
Against Kuvira. I was like, she's totally going to run sabotage.
I figured that, too. Yeah. I figured that she was like, it's like, Julie, you wouldn't just do that.
Oh, definitely buy health potions.
Yeah.
We don't know this, but we should definitely buy health potions.
Yeah, it's definitely not something that we've had trouble with.
So what are cool things? So one of my issues with Korra is it felt like they were trying to replicate the magic of the first series. Yeah. Particularly in the character archetypes.
Yeah, it was... You could definitely see a lot of...
I'm home!
similarities between characters between The Last Airbender and Korra.
Yeah.
They tried to have the sort of wiseacre character
Being
Bolin.
Sokka and Bolin.
Sokka Bolin. I feel like it was that again was also pretty forced. Bolin just wasn't as funny as Sokka.
No, he was not. He was kind of a ham. But
yeah, he was a ham, but he was like Sokka had like. Sokka was a lot smarter than Bolin, just altogether.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Bolin was
just
a bucket of nails.
Yeah, exactly.
Mako, they tried to kind of
Like
capture
replicate Zuko a bit.
Yeah.
And sort of, but Zuko he had just such a strong character in Last Airbender, and his full.
Well, they didn't do anything with Mako.
Yeah, Mako just was really static the
Yeah.
entire time. He wasn't, he didn't stand out as much.
I need your help.
At least in the later seasons. And in fact, in the 4th season, he was just like, he was not even there for like half of it.
Well, I mean, I did like that he was paired up with an irresponsible guy, and he kind of had to shepherd him into leadership.
Right.
I think that was a good place to put Mako.
Yeah, sort of.
If they're like, what are we going to do with Mako? Well, let's stick it with this irresponsible young guy.
But he like went from this cool like cop character in the 2nd season.
Oh, yeah.
Like he went from like pro bender to like detective, and then
That was another
Sorta
thing. None of these
nothing.
characters really had problems except Korra.
Dealing with these guys.
yeah, it's true.
Bolin became a movie star after being a pro bender, and then he became a lava bender, and then he became
A
one of the
government
highest.
official-
Yeah, he became one of the highest ranked people in Kavir's army. Then defected.
Yeah.
I mean, and same with Asami. Asami was like daughter of Sato.
I guess she was just
Sato,
running.
Mr. Sato, and
Yeah.
then she inherited the company.
And I guess
there was
she was just
problems with
running
that,
that,
but she overcame them. She's a genius.
Yeah.
She really didn't have too many problems. She had some problems with Varric in the 2nd season.
Right, but that's sort of about it. Her character sort of seemed pretty dry to me too.
Her character was just kind of vengeance for a bit. Well, not even vengeance.
What is-
I don't
like-
just disappointment.
Is there anyone that like you can sort of compare her to with the?
Katara.
She's sort of the Katara of the group.
Well, Katara carried the weight of her mother being killed and things like that. But, it's a different kind of
it didn't
shame.
It didn't really show up as well in.
Yeah,
It didn't read as well in the-
Katara's was Rage, and the episode where Katara and Zuko go out and find the raider
just
that
all
attacked,
the Zuko episodes.
where people kind of finish their character arcs.
Yeah, it was really awesome. Like, and Zuko like sort of developed himself in those scenes as well.
Yeah,
Or in those
well,
episodes,
he's
too.
growing with them
Yeah, because his whole thing was redemption,
and trusting in others, and so he would go with people and help them with their problems, and that helped him with his problems.
exactly.
And we just never saw that in Last Airbender.
Yeah, or Korra.
Or Korra, yeah. Last Airbender, we did see that.
Yeah, we saw that a lot in Last Airbender, in fact.
So, like, I guess Bolin going to help Opal rescue her family, but
It was sort of the vengeance.
yeah.
Oh god. Shit. Oh, I
Well,
just got
that was
comboed.
kind of his redemption,
Or,
but
yeah, sorry, not vengeance.
it wasn't a big character arc. It was, I need to hook up with my girlfriend again.
Yeah,
who
I need
pissed
to like
off.
prove her that I'm actually a decent boyfriend.
And if you notice at the end of the series, they never really actually established if Opal has forgiven him.
They do actually. She's like,
They do?
Yeah, no. She said. I think they explicitly say like, okay, thanks.
Yeah.
You're okay now.
Well, and Toph approves of him.
Or like,
Lava
she
bender.
says like, you're out of the doghouse now or something
Yeah.
like that.
Whoops. I think that was.
But I mean, they're just kind of dating. There wasn't like an Opal Bolin marriage at the end.
No.
Everything
Well,
must
there's
end
still
in a marriage.
yeah. I mean, there's still pretty young there, so
Yeah.
I assume that.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know how old Bolin is.
Well,
Korra is 19.
I assume that they're around the same age.
Korra was 16 at the beginning of the series, and then there's the 3-year time jump. So we gotta assume she's like 19 to 21-ish
Right.
by the end of the series.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, they're young adults.
Yeah, but so they copied
adults.
a lot of things, but didn't do as well, and everyone felt OP. You know,
Yeah,
like,
it's true.
Mako was badass, Bolin was badass, Asami was badass, all in different ways.
They didn't have a lot of like
Not much room
not
to
a lot-
grow.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, Toph was blind, but a badass, but she still had to deal with things. She had to run from her family. She had to deal with the metal prison episode is one of the best episodes.
One of the coolest moments in the Avatar series, in my opinion.
Yeah, you can see that Toph, like, when we look at Toph as a character, she has insecurities, but she acts strong to deal with those insecurities.
Exactly.
And so that informs her character. Speaking of airbenders,
I know what you're talking about.
We should talk about Tenzin, who is actually an interesting character.
Yeah, he's sort of he's the second generation.
He's Aang's airbending son.
Yeah.
Never been gone this long before.
Let's see.
He has struggles with his family.
Right.
Not with his immediate family, but his brothers and sister.
Yeah, and with Korra too, who sort of like takes on as he's her mentor, airbending mentor.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
But he has control issues.
Yeah.
He has kind of.
He definitely has father issues too.
Yeah, because he was favored by his father, but his father was very hard on him and had high expectations.
Exactly.
It kind of shows you a different side of Aang.
Well, it's because he was he was born the only airbender out of all of Aang's children.
He carries the legacy of airbending.
Exactly. But I mean, Boomy in the third season does get airbending.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
But it was.
I can feel my energy coming back.
Hey, she can feel her energy coming back.
Yay, waterbending.
Water.
Trying to get the spirit water.
Oh, Mizu.
They did actual animations and stuff for this game.
Like
it was
that.
pretty impressive. They didn't half-ass it that much. There was the Beifong family. Mm-hmm. So things like Lin and Su Beifong, who are Toph's daughters.
Yeah, they did I really enjoyed all Lin Beifong stuff. She was just a badass.
Yeah, I thought they were going to go in their direction with her because they were talking about her irresponsibilities, how she had a pirate for a cook and stuff like that. And I thought that would come around more. Some big betrayal was going to happen,
Right.
It kind of happened with Kavira, but it wasn't as overt as you thought. It all happened in the background. But in terms of the design, the metal benders, I love how they ran with the metal benders.
Yeah, no, if there's one thing that Korra did really well was all of the portrayals of the bending nation, the new bendings and stuff like that that we saw sort of briefly in Last Airbender.
Yeah.
They developed, like you said, they developed a lot more on the lightning bending.
Yeah.
Which is again this really overpowered it was the ultimate fire bending technique basically. And then they're just using it in everyday life. And then when how Toph is the only metal bender at the end of Avatar: Last Airbender, and then
she establishes a police force.
It's this pretty prominent style of bending now, where all of the police force uses it.
And she developed a school for it because when you look in Zaofu,
they're actually Toph's.
They use meteorites and stuff to that have a high iron content to practice with. Basically.
Exactly.
To make sure the temple is okay.
And then we have stuff like lava bending, which makes a lot of sense. You take earth and compress it, you're going to get lava, but it's still technically earth. With airbending, I was kind of wondering what they would do with that to kind of raise the stakes, and I think they did it in two ways.
Yeah.
They did flight with Zahir.
Where he
let go of his earthly bounds and flew.
Yeah, exactly. And then they also, with Zahir, his whole being an evil airbender, he was more malicious with the style, and he was able
pulling air out people's lungs.
Yeah, he was able. They off the Earth Queen at one point. Or at one point in the series. Yeah. And he does it by suffocating her by pulling the air out of her lungs.
He just forces the air away from her head until she is dead.
Yeah,
which is pretty brutal.
It's incredibly brutal.
In addition to Zahir and kind of vacuum bending, I guess you would call it.
Yeah.
There was Janora. She became the next airbending master.
Next airbending master, and she
she has a spirit ability.
Yeah, where she can sort of astral project herself,
and she can sense things in the spirit world. And I kind of feel like that's the highest level of another high level airbending technique. Because they've
That
always been
or-
more spiritual.
Was it that, or was it just that she was like related to the Avatar, and so, or like the Aang,
well,
or was it just that like?
I don't think it's like the
because-
Forge where like there's people who are spirit attached.
right. Well,
Maybe, but I don't know. I always felt like
she might have just like a stronger sort of connection to it because like she has that Avatar blood in her, or Aang.
that might be.
Or it's just that the airbending is closer to like spiritualism.
Well, because when you think about the Guru episodes in the original series, he's not an airbender, but he's helping with the Avatar, and he lives at an air temple.
Yeah, that's true. I think maybe it's just that I feel like he was there to, like, because he didn't bend or anything, right?
No,
As far as we know.
but he helped with chakra and things like
Yeah, I think he was just like another one of those like I guess Iroh was like really
that. Spiritual.
really spiritual and
I
stuff.
guess so.
and- So
But
maybe
maybe it isn't, but
I don't know. Maybe it's and one of these things that's never really talked about or like never really brought up is that like how close people are to like spiritualism other than like the Benders or the Avatar.
well, I guess Boomy kind of sees spirits and
He's able
talks
to-
to them and builds
Yeah, but I'm
relationships
wondering
with
if
them.
that's just because
temple's
you know
been
he's
invaded.
got some sort of like relation to Aang or something. I
Yeah,
don't know if
that
that's-
supports your Aang theory a little better, I think. It's also just kind of Boomy's personality. They did more with the bloodbenders. They have psychic bloodbenders.
which is pretty cool.
It was kind of weird because you were like, oh, you think that bloodbending won't happen again? I hope it's going to happen again.
Yeah, they bring it right back into it in the very first.
Well, I think that brings up something good. Like, Katara was the last known bloodbender, and so she kind of bans the practice, but it still gets out. So you can't... It kind of points out the issue of you can't just hide these things. You can't ignore the problems away.
Exactly. Yeah, it's gonna come back regardless. And they actually did it really well, I think, is that what was it? The guy was like this criminal.
Well, so there's two brothers.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
their father was like this
Their father was a mob boss.
Mob
He was a
boss.
triad mob boss.
who like was able to
His bending got taken away by Aang.
right.
And so he vowed revenge. And his sons had this ability when he got banished to the Southern Water Tribe. And he trained his sons how to blood bend psychically. So high level blood bending. And one of his sons turns
I
into
can
a
do
monk.
this.
Oh, what?
Got shot.
All right, this was actually pretty hard.
Okay. Let's see what we have. Let's go and get him.
I don't have the shot.
Yeah, you get the shop when you die.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's Amon turns out to be one of the villains, and he
Yeah.
uses blood bending to kind of block chi and block people's bending.
Exactly.
So again, it's that kind of progression of ideas. This used to be something Aang could only do and Katara could only do, and now someone else figures it out.
They did it really well in the in it because they made it seem like he had this mysterious power.
Yeah, like he had the Avatar power.
Exactly. But it just turned out that it was
Well, it's still miraculous that he can chi block people to such an extent that permanently takes away their bending. If Korra doesn't return it.
oh shit.
Yeah, you gotta watch out for that waterbender. His ice attack is brutal. Nice. You gotta isolate them out. So, yeah, the bloodbending aspect is. God damn.
You get caught in it and you just can't dodge away.
Yeah. So, yeah, that guy projects his attacks a lot. We kind of mentioned it before. The Triads were this criminal gang that was in the first season. We didn't see them very much in the second and third season. They were kind of just around.
Right.
But that was kind of a cool idea.
Yeah,
just
that
a
there's like a-
multinational or multi-element
Bending.
crime syndicate. There was no airbenders because at the point in the show, airbenders were just the Aang family.
Exactly. It was just
descendants of Aang.
yeah. And then yeah, but I like that. In the last Airbender, it was just the Fire Nation that were the bad guys, pretty much.
Yeah, but now they kind of showed bad guys in the other nations, but they're getting away with it because of the war. Like that great episode with Zuko, where he fights the Earthbender soldiers that are taking advantage of that village.
Yeah.
But then they realize he's the Fire Prince and shun him as well.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so they'd always hinted that, there's bad people everywhere, it's just the war kind of hides it. But just to have an organized crime syndicate, it fits much better with kind of what they're going for with Korra in the city and stuff like that. There could have been more stories there. How just like exploitative you can be by having a group that's basically the White Lotus, but working as a crime syndicate.
Exactly.
Also, the third season, with the bringing back of the Airbenders, which was, I didn't know they were going to go that way. That was great.
It was, like bringing back this whole this dead.
So
bending, basically.
When Korra opens,
at the end of the second
harmonic
season,
convergence and unites the spirit world and the real world, the unexpected consequences, Airbenders start coming back. She brings balance to the chi or something like that, and Airbenders start popping up that aren't descendants of Aang.
Exactly. So it's just sort of random people get to use airbending powers. I mean, it's like...
Hey, you took care of that quick.
Yeah. 2 tries.
2 tries.
I'll take it.
So, yeah, what I kind of thought they were going for with that is kind of the Israel example in Jerusalem.
Oh, sort of like the Mecca.
Yeah, the lost, the people without a nation.
The lost tribes and how they have to go and sort of find these...
Just kind of this group that's been estranged, and basically, if you think about it, it's kind of like the Holocaust, where they've almost been wiped out to extinction.
Well, they have, basically.
Yeah.
Like, Aang was the last of his people because the Fire Nation comes
and it didn't look good. It was this one family. This one family is always in danger.
Right.
And, they could,
that was
luckily
a big
they can
thing.
marry out of the family
weren't they held captive a couple times?
Yeah, exactly.
Like
It's,
in the first season?
And you gotta hope that every one of those kids produces an airbender,
Right, exactly.
So the fact that they suddenly had a lot of airbenders, a fair number of them, and that they could form the Air Nation again was really cool. But I love that episode where they're finding the new airbenders, and some of them are part of the Earth Nation. They're like, I'm not going to leave my family and become
why would I do that?
So they're not culturally the same.
Yeah, no, it's sort of like they were thrown into this whole thing.
Well, yeah, it's like, say you're a Jewish person, but you're not a practicing Jewish person. You're ethnically Jewish.
And then
someone says, hey, you gotta be an Orthodox Jew.
Yeah, it's like,
well, no.
I haven't been practicing ever.
Yeah, I haven't been practicing. I'm part of the chosen people, maybe, but I'm not, I'm not that kind of Jewish person.
Right, exactly.
And so, just this kind of cultural class they did, that was a very nice, subtle touch that they were doing, where they're like, no, this is really cruel of you to expect them to give up their lives just for your nation,
Exactly.
And they had to grow and evolve, the Airbenders. They become more peacekeepers, they become a little more militarized.
Right.
And Tenzin has to wrestle with that. He's trying to teach the old traditions, but why should people care culturally about the old traditions?
But, I mean, in the end... It's kind of cool how they do it, because aren't they in trouble or something like that? They're being targeted by Zahir.
Yeah.
And
the spirit
they have to
the public city. Once the plan
they have to make this ultimate choice. It's like,
well, yeah, it's kind of that protection of having your group.
Exactly. And they realize that they were going to be looked after if they.
But there's compromises and concessions.
Exactly.
So Tenzin does not make them all into monks.
Right.
They kind of are monks, but they're kind of not. And I just think I think that's why I kind of like the third season the most.
And actually, I really like the character, the kid Kai.
Yeah, they didn't do anything with him in the fourth season.
Sort of dropped him in the fourth season.
Yeah.
He was there for an
big
episode.
Deal.
Yeah.
He reminded me a lot of Aang, actually.
Yeah, that's what I kind of got that vibe too.
So
I kind of wish they had. I really wish they had kept up with his character and maybe had a bigger part. I don't know. Was he in the final battle at all? Or?
He was.
I don't remember him.
He had like
being in
one speaking line.
Oh, yeah, of course.
He was just kind of hanging out
He
there.
was just sort of there.
Hey, I don't even know if him and Janora were still dating and
I
stuff.
think they like
or whatever
she
they
talks
were doing.
about it. Like I
We're
think
doing all
Opal
right.
like brings it up at one point. He's
Yeah.
like, so how's or no, Korra brings it up. He's like, so how's Kai doing? She's like, he's okay.
Yeah, it's just like
And they're like, okay, that's
Okay.
that's as
All
far
right.
as they go in
Yeah.
addressing their relationship.
that's kind of how Tenzin was that
Yeah.
season too. It's like he's okay.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna sit in the background the whole time.
Yeah, Corey, do your thing.
Well, is there anything that you wanted to see that you didn't get to see?
Oh, just in the Korra series.
Well, Korra or Last Airbender, and just in general, like, you think they could go somewhere with this that they haven't done? Because they did comics and stuff for Zuko's mom.
Just stuff that they didn't really explain and that they could have explained more. I mean, I think, you know, I would have liked to see more. I'm sort of a fan of like the everyman getting the powers, and that's why I really like the airbending stuff. So maybe like
A mini story about that.
like maybe some guy sort of like discovering he had the airbending powers, and then like maybe from his perspective what he had to like sort of take on himself. I don't know. I don't know if that'd be a.
Well, I mean, they kind of had that a little bit with the guy that Mako comes across, that he's
Yeah.
freaking out and on the bridge and
Oh, that's true.
attacking people, but that was they could have expanded on that a bit.
Yeah.
That could have been a comic book.
Give me back my bending.
Well, I've stated lots of times that I want them to go into more of the other Avatars
Yeah.
stories. It could be its own series where they just do mini episodes
Of just the.
of just what happened with other Avatars. Like, the story I always want to see is Ko the Face Stealer.
Right.
I want to see. This is a demon that steals people's faces.
Yeah,
That's
no.
a really interesting concept. Why did we not have like a mini series like Avatar Wong? They
Yeah.
had 2 episodes dedicated to that. Why did we not have
you know-
like a few episodes where we see what happened there?
You know, I kind of take it back my thing. I kind of like sort of along the same lines as seeing like the old Avatar stuff. I want to know what happened to like the Avatar gang. You know, like after they've been like adults and stuff like that. You know,
Oh
like,
yeah.
Or you
Later
know
in
even
life?
or even like Tenzin. Like I'd like
Yeah.
to know like what sort of trials and tribulations he went. Like maybe what he and Aang were doing in their training and stuff. I
Yeah.
think that would have been kind of cool.
Well, and also the big question is they severed the Avatar line with Korra.
Yeah, that's right.
She
Can't talk to any of her past lives anymore.
is she going to reincarnate?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't
I mean,
know.
she technically has Rava in her again, which is what caused the reincarnation.
Right.
But, like,
Can she...
basically, the best thing that could have happened there is they hit reset.
Yeah, that's true. It's like she's now the first Avatar sort of thing? Or...
Yeah, like, when you talk to people, you're just going to have Korra for a while.
It's like
You're going to have Korra and whoever comes after her. And, I think it'll be an Earthbender next. Yeah, it'll be an Earthbender is the next
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
If the cycle continues.
And then a Firebender.
Yeah, but so this next Avatar, if there's a next Avatar, it's just going to have Korra to talk to.
Yeah,
He's
that's
gonna,
right.
Hey, Korra, I'm having a problem. It's like, I didn't deal with that problem.
Yeah. it's like, what?
She didn't have
You mean-
the wealth of knowledge that Aang had.
You mean I was supposed to do other stuff?
Yeah. Oh, see, my problems? I had to fight
I
a giant
know.
robot.
Yeah, I mean, there's that, and then...
I fought a kaiju too for some reason.
yeah, I turned into a giant kaiju at one
Yeah,
point.
it was crazy. But you're having problems with a demon? Sorry, I didn't really do that. So yeah, that's a story they could have. Is the next guy afterwards, like the Earthbender that follows?
Yeah, even if it's just for like a... My bending's going again.
Yeah. Oh, remember you switched it.
Oh, oops.
Oh, health.
What I think what I would have liked to see, or what I would like to see if they ever decided to
I have to equip
do,
items
like,
before I
another-
can use them.
series, I'd like to see just, you know, the, okay, I got that. maybe just going back over like Tenzin's relationship with his family and like what he went through, or or even like the old Avatar gang as like adults. I think that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, we never saw adult Sokka.
Yeah, well, we see him once.
Yeah.
In like a flashback,
Yeah.
and he's only there for like 30 seconds.
Did he have kids? We never saw them.
I don't know. There's like speculation that Varric might be related to him or something, but
Oh yeah, I guess so. No way. There's no last names, I realize, in the... Well, there's Beifong.
well, Varric has like a whole list of names or something, doesn't he?
I guess so. Aang never really had a name.
Well, he was a monk. So
He's a monk,
I don't know
so...
if that's like a...
What was your favorite part overall in both series?
Both series?
Like, just one from each, I guess.
I think in Korra, I think my favorite part was probably the Avatar 1 stuff.
Yeah.
I really liked sort of like the backstory and his, like, you get to really learn about how like bending came to be, and I thought it was just like a really nice touch that they added to it.
That episode added so much to the world.
It's a lot of depth, and yeah, I love the lore stuff in Avatar. I think that's like my favorite.
It answered so many questions, like, was there always benders? How did this happen? Like,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you find out that it's like
why is it only some people and not all of them? And
the lion turtles.
Yeah,
You
the
gotta,
lion turtles.
You gotta see more about the lion turtles.
yeah,
Big fan.
and kind of why the spirits are the way they are and things like that. So, I love at the end of the Avatar 1 thing when he's laying on a battlefield, like in broken armor and
Yeah.
stuff, and he dies, and there's the
first time the Avatar
cycle happens.
starts.
Yeah. That was just such a cool image there. So yeah, what about Last Airbender?
Last Airbender, my favorite part is definitely the fight between Zuko and Azula, like in the final episode.
Final one with Katara.
With Katara, yeah, that was like, it had easily the best music, and some of like the best fighting scenes in the
Best
entire show.
animation.
Yeah,
Yeah, that one was really good. And it also kind of finished Zuko's arc.
it absolutely did. Yeah, his whole, he finally overcame his family tribulations and stuff. Stop switching.
Regained his honor because he did not cheat in the fight. His sister cheated in the fight. He does the lightning redirect and takes it himself.
Yeah, exactly.
And ultimately, Katara is the one that helps him beat his sister, and he relies on his friends.
Exactly. So, and he has friends to rely on. That's
Yeah.
the big thing.
Yeah.
Especially, it's a girl that his nation just
Ruined her life. Yeah, and she gets to help him right the world, basically.
Exactly.
So it's an awesome scene.
Yeah. It's so powerful. What about you? What was your favorite scenes from the series?
And
Sea Ride?
in Legend of Korra, I think my favorite one is Zahir killing the Earth Queen. We talked about it a few times.
Just like that season just had some of the best, like,
Yeah, I was going to say a
most
close
adult
runner-up for me
death scene,
is the death of Zahir's girlfriend, the combustion bender that Sue shoots her metal chest piece at her, wraps it around her head as she's taking a shot, and basically decapitates the lady.
just blows her head off, basically.
Yeah, it's brutal, but
It's really brutal.
But they also built up that Zahir and his girlfriend kind of were like, oh, we'll be together forever after this and all that stuff.
like-
And he just is.
Is that when he learns
That's
how
when
to
he
fly?
learns how to fly because
Yeah.
he just gives up. He
He's
says,
like, I have no earthly ties anymore.
yeah, I'm done.
Yeah.
And so he jumps off a cliff and starts flying.
That's a pretty powerful scene. But
but
the
the scene,
evil-
it's like the episode or two before that,
yeah, the
where he
evil
kills the
airbending.
Earth Queen, and he pulls the air out of her lungs, and it lays down that he is not pulling his punches.
He's willing to go the distance.
He's a true anarchist. He's killing heads of state. He throws the Earth Nation, which was already in bad because they were mismanaged by this bad queen. I mean, that's what makes the scene so interesting is the queen was not a good person.
Right.
You still feel bad for her. That happens. But
you sort of empathize with
you kind of
with the
empathize with the villain because he's like, these are horrible heads of state that ruin their people's lives.
Right.
But him doing that
it's
action
just such a yeah.
is not going to help the Earth Nation. It doesn't. It leads to Kuvira, which is basically Hitler.
Yeah. So
It leads to a fascist uprising.
yeah.
And So that scene is
Which
so
really,
powerful.
yeah, it not only is it a powerful scene just within the season, but it sets the tone for the next season as well.
Yeah.
Which you have to go up there.
Like after that point in the season, you're just like, oh, they're not messing around.
Yeah, they're not pulling their punches.
This is like
This
an
is
anarchist
serious
got
stuff.
rid of a head of state just now.
Yeah.
And like the characters respond to it that way. So, and last Airbender,
Favorite scene.
I'd say my favorite scene is probably the final battle between Aang and the Fire Lord Ozai.
Yeah.
Because they build it up with Aang is got this final decision that he's got. People keep saying you gotta kill Ozai to stop him.
Right.
And it's morally against Aang's life code. He's an airbending monk. He believes in misdirection and there's always another way. You never have to kill someone. He'll fight people. He'll hurt you, but he's not going to kill you.
Yeah. There's always a non-violent solution to.
He doesn't want his actions to lead to your death.
Exactly. Which is such a noble and I love that part of his character.
And people are going to say you're going to have to compromise on your values.
And yeah, exactly. And he refuses to.
The beauty of that moment, it's a little bit of a Deus Ex Machina, but he consults the Lion Turtle finally, who teaches him how to chi block essentially. He's able to
Like permanently chi block.
Yeah, he uses his chi to overcome the Fire Lord's chi and block out his bending. He disarms a bender.
Exactly. And it's the first time you see it in the series.
And it's the final moment of the series, basically. Well, not the final moment, but it's like
the
final fight of the series is him overpowering this person with his will, essentially, and disarming him.
Exactly.
And so he doesn't compromise his morals in the end, which is so important. When you have such high morals and people tell you that you can't do things that way, and then he pulls it out of nowhere and is able to do it.
Yeah, he's able to. Yeah, that's a really good scene too. Yeah. That whole fight is just amazing too.
Well, because
Aang
was having a moral struggle there.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, it's just it's a great way to end that series. That he overcomes his moral quandary and discovers a brand new way to do things. When no other answer is right, he makes a new right answer.
And I think that's why the Last Airbender is such a strong series, is because it's all about people overcoming these like incredible moral decisions and having to deal with the repercussions of what they have had, what they've done in the past and stuff.
And they define their own lives.
Exactly.
So Aang says, "I'm not going to be the person that kills Ozai. I'm going to bring Ozai down and stop him.
I'm going to disarm him."
Katara doesn't let her rage overcome her. She helps Zuko defeat the sister. They don't kill Azula. Azula is crazy, and they don't kill her.
Yeah.
They chain her up, and she looks pathetic in the end. And that's much better than what anything honorable they could have done with her.
Yeah.
Zuko discovers that he doesn't need the honor of his family because his family are all jerks.
People. Yeah.
They're terrible people. You don't deserve them.
Exactly.
Or they don't deserve you, basically. Talked about Toph and how she kind of already did her overcoming thing. She invented metal bending to get out of the problem. I love that they invented things to get out of a problem.
Exactly.
Just thinking on your feet was so good in that series.
Exactly. Yeah, it was easily the best. I think it's always going to have a place in my heart, just because of how well made this is.
So, I think that's pretty much our conversation. If you stuck through it, thanks. We're just getting to the giant mecha guy. You think this is a good place to stop?
I think this is a great place to stop.
Thanks for hanging out with us and comment, talk about it. Let's get a dialogue going. And catch you guys later.
Yep, take care. Girl Korra! Ah!
discussing
We
the
will be
ending.
discussing
Legend of
Legend of
Korra.
Korra. Discussing
and discussing
Legend
the
of Korra.
ending.
And
to
and
Avatar.
we will talk about
If you not want to hear spoilers, then do not proceed.
If you're
If
the
not
sort
want
that
to hear
does not want to
spoilers,
hear
if you do not want to hear
we will be
spoilers,
discussing
then proceed
Avatar
no
the
further.
Last-
Then proceed no
Thank you.
further.
Thank you.
Avatar: The Last Korra.
Thank you all.